Hey, what is up guys? Thanks a lot for checking out this video. Today it's going to be more of just a tutorial on how to install seat rails and brackets on R34 GTR seats. Let's get started. So in order to put sliders, seat rails, and brackets on an R34 GTR seat, like the one that I have here. It's not an authentic one, it is a replica made by a highly reputable company. It is a very beautiful and comfortable seat. It's going to make the build look really good. So you need the seat rail slider kit. So these are the sliders here. This is the bar that you pull up on in order to make the mechanism slide in and out. You also need a couple of tools. You need a small little impact driver or wrench or ratchet, whatever you got, because you're going to need 4 flat washers, 4 spacers, 4 bolts with nuts, then also 4 of the Allen head bolts that came with the kit. I got my Allen socket there, and then also my bolt socket right there. Of course, you're going to need the seat bracket itself. This allows it to be bolted into the car to stock locations. You also have the nice seat belt mounting point along with it also. Alright, so let's get this all together and let's make a seat to bolt right on into the car. Alright, so next what you want to do is you want to get your seat propped all up here, and you want to spot the mounting holes on each side. There and there. That's what these rails are actually going to bolt onto, and then we're going to add spaces underneath to raise it up. That way we have enough clearance for our bracket, and then also our seat belt is going to be mounted on the other side. Alright, so pro tip. For the slider, you want to make sure that you pay attention to the orientation of it and which way it goes. The reason why is because when you grab the pull bar, see how it has a slight bend? You want to make sure you put that in the right spot also. So when you connect it to the slider, you're going to be pulling up, and you want to make sure that the mechanism goes the correct way when it's mounted to the seat. It does help if you lay it out each side and you figure out the orientation right away. That way when you go to grab it, put it on, all the hard thinking is already done. Alright, so now let's concentrate on this side specifically. Because I already figured out my orientation and the way that the slider positions, all that we need to do is we need to slide the rail down far enough that way we can get to the bolt in behind here. There's also an oval-ized bolt hole right here, and then also a single bolt hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to figure out what position is it happy with on here. That way we make both sides nice and even. So you can kind of look and peek through a couple of the little holes on the other side, meant for the seat mount. So we're just poking through, seeing what all lines up. And in this case, it's the last hole at the top that is where it's fixed, and it's going to be right around the middle of the slot hole there. So what you can do is you can grab your rail and you can grab your bar, put it in, and then release the tension. That way you can actually slide the rail down far enough to show the third hole at the bottom there. Now what we're going to do is make sure, yep, that lines up, and grab our spacer, put it in behind. Then we're going to grab our Allen head bolt and then just put it through. So it'll look similar like that. We can go ahead and pre-thread it all in, so that way it doesn't fall down on us. So now that we pretty much have it on there, what we can do is we can actually use the impact driver to thread it all on in. Not 100%, just snug enough. That way we can at least slide the rail upwards so that we can do the bottom, just like what we did to the top. So again, grab your pull bar, put it on the mounts, tension up. That way you can slide the rail up to expose the bottom bolt hole. Pretty much the same process for the remaining of it all. So now again, bolt through, spacer in behind. Try to get the thread started first, because if you put the impact gun on it right away, you risk cross-threading. So now that I got this rail, for the most part, mounted all up, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the bottom and tighten the top. Grab my pull bar again. Release the tension, drop the slider down to expose that Allen bolt. That way we can tighten it all up. Perfect. Now on to the next side. So now on for this side here, again, we already found our rail. We already found the proper orientation that it goes in. Let's just double check, because it could be different. 99% sure it's gonna be the bottom bolt hole, and then the slotted hole is where the other bolt's gonna go. All right, so now that we've dropped the rail down, exposing the bolt holes a little bit better, we can do pretty much the exact same process on the other side there. Grab our bolt, put it through the bottom, and again, grab our spacer, put it on there. Then what we can do is we can put it on the seat, get the thread started just a little bit. Now we can grab the impact driver, tighten it up just a little bit. Just snug, that way we can actually get the rail past the bolt head without it hitting. So now we're closer to the final steps of mounting the seat rails to the actual seat itself. Now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to get the pull bar positioned, because when we go to do the bottom, it's gonna get really tight and it's gonna get pretty difficult to put the last bar in, because it's actually bowing out, holding tension on everything. Again, easy peasy, bolt spacer. Now this is the part where it gets fun. Like I said, you got a little bit of tension just because the pull bar is bowing outwards, so you gotta kind of squish it down. And then also now you gotta fight between these 2 points here. So first, we'll get it to the locked in one, nice and snug. And that way we have a good solid base to push against. It's gonna take a little bit of force to get this taken care of, so just make sure you're holding on to everything, because it has the potential to fling away from you. Like that. Again, be warned. You're gonna have to wrestle with it for a little bit. You're gonna have to fight it because of the tension. But now we got it. So now all that you do is press up, and each rail gets to slide freely. So now that part is done. Now we're gonna move on to the actual seat bracket itself that bolts to the sliders in order to bolt the entire seat into the car. So a couple of things. First thing, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your rails themselves are even. This one's lower, that one's higher. So what we need to do is we need to bring this one up more. Right about there. Now we need to bring this one up to match this one. Right about there also. Okay. Now also you need to pay attention to your bracket's orientation. You have the seatbelt buckle mount right here. Make sure you put it on the back side of the chair, but you also have to pay attention to what side you put it on. Depending on which one has the seat rest adjustment, you need to put it on the opposing side. So let's take a quick look. Looks like this side is the one with the lever adjustment for the backrest. So in turn, we're gonna have to put it on this side. So again, pay attention to your seatbelt buckle. And it's gonna mount like that, okay? We have a couple adjustment points here. we got two different slots. We got the far one or the inner one. Same with the bottom and on the other side. So you gotta pay attention to which one makes the chair even. You don't wanna put it off to the side because you're gonna be sitting really goofy off center in your car. In this case, we want the inner mounts on each side. That makes it easy. So now because we figured out how our bracket mounts to the chair itself, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our bolt. This bolt actually fits perfect on the inside of the rail, locking it between the rail. So that way we don't have to get a wrench or anything on it. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide it all the way through, put the mount on it, and you're gonna put a flat washer, then the locking nut itself. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the bolt inside the rail, sticking out like that. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hang the bracket on it. Doesn't matter if it flip-flops, nothing like that. Like I said, flat washer, then the locking nut. Then you do it to the other side, just like the way we did on this side here. So again, bolt through the rail, hang the bracket on the bolt, flat washer, then the locking nut. Also pay attention because when you have it on the rails, you can still move the bracket side to side ever so slightly. Make sure before you tighten everything up, or while you're tightening everything up, the bracket is even between the chair and the rails. Because again, you don't want to sit off center goofy in your car. So now what we'll do is we'll drop the whole bracket and the rails down, get the bolts fed through the bottom, and then we'll put the washers and the lock nuts on, and then we'll reposition the whole bracket side to side, tighten it all up in each corner. Now remember, because the bracket itself is not secured to the rails, it still kind of does this when you pull the bar to pull it down. So make sure, again, your rails are even each side. Pretty much what you're doing, feeding the bolt through the hole, into the mount, flat washer, locking nut. Exact same process on this side. Flat washer, locking nut. Like I said, the nice thing is with the bolts being on the other side of the rail, the head fits perfect. So I don't need to use a wrench or anything. I can literally just impact gun each nut and it will tighten itself perfect. All right, so now let's position this mount. Be nice and even with the chair. So that looks about even right there. I'll just hold on to it. Pretty much do a star pattern. Just do a quick tighten check. Again, star pattern. Now when you go to pull the bar, you should be able to move everything. Because I don't have it mounted in the car, I don't have my body weight on it, and this is fresh grease, it's kind of sticky. So once you get your body weight on and all that, it'll move a lot easier. Pretty much you just want to make sure that it doesn't catch on anything like any of the bolt heads or whatnot. Success. Alright, so there is both seats done. I already did the one seat off camera just to get comfortable with everything. That way I can explain the process without any trouble. So as you can see, we got the pull bar right here, operating perfect on both. I really like these seats. These seats look really good. They're pretty comfy. The two-tone looks pretty sweet. So as you can see, brackets look like that. You got your reclining adjustment there, and then you also got your seatbelt mount on the opposing side. just like this chair. Got the seat belt mount here. On the opposing side, you got your reclining adjustment right there. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. On next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing the seats into the actual car. I'll be showing you the process on that also. But for this is at least how you get the rails and the mounts set up on the actual chairs themselves. Make sure you guys drop a like. You also subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing a little bit more DIY stuff in the next upcoming videos. Also, there's going to be a lot of Skyline action. We have that Ford Flex to finish off also. Lots of stuff planned for this year. Lots of stuff happening this summer. So definitely subscribe to the channel. Click that bell notification. That way you know whenever I post a video up onto the channel too. Take care. See you in the next one.